March 2018. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the man who defined strength for an entire generation, walks into Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles for what was supposed to be a routine heart valve replacement. But within hours, things went wrong. The surgery became an emergency open-heart operation. Doctors had to open his chest, the same body that had once conquered bodybuilding stages and movie screens, to save his life. When he woke up, the first thing he said was simple: "I'm back." But the truth? Recovery had only just begun. He later admitted, "It was a big shock. I was scared. But I told myself, you can't stay down. You get up and you start walking." That mindset, that fighter's attitude, was the foundation of his comeback. Yet behind every comeback, there's something we don't often talk about: the people at home, the caregivers, who make survival possible. Because after open-heart surgery, the real work doesn't happen in the operating room, it happens in the living room, in the kitchen, in the quiet nights when the patient wakes up afraid to breathe too deep. And Arnold's story shows us exactly why those first days at home matter more than any medicine. According to the American Heart Association, the weeks following surgery are the most critical. Patients can face pain, weakness, emotional swings, and the constant fear of doing something wrong. That's why caregivers, sons, daughters, partners, friends become the heart's second heartbeat. In this video, we're going to combine what Arnold learned from his own recovery with what the best cardiac experts from the Cleveland Clinic and Mayo Clinic teach about home care. You'll learn exactly how to help someone heal safely, from the moment they come home, through their first walk, to the moment they regain independence. Because caring for someone after open heart surgery isn't just about following instructions. It's about rebuilding their confidence, their hope, and their will to live. Stay until the end of this video, because we'll uncover the step-by-step plan that doctors use to guide recovery, and the simple daily habits that can make the difference between relapse and real healing. And along the way, you'll see how Arnold turned one of the scariest moments of his life into a second chance to live stronger, not just for himself, but for everyone who looks up to him. Before we talk about recovery, we have to understand what the body just went through. Open heart surgery isn't just another operation, it's one of the most complex and demanding procedures in modern medicine. In simple terms, it means that surgeons open the chest to reach the heart directly, to repair, replace, or reroute the pathways that keep blood moving through the body. For many patients, it's performed to correct blocked arteries, fix valves that no longer open or close properly, or replace damaged tissue after years of strain. In Arnold Schwarzenegger's case, the doctors were replacing an aging pulmonary valve, something he first had corrected back in 1997 because of a congenital defect. What was meant to be a minimally invasive procedure suddenly turned into a full open-heart surgery when complications appeared. And that's what most people don't realize. Even with today's technology, open-heart surgery is a massive trauma to the body. The Mayo Clinic explains that during surgery, the heart is often stopped temporarily while a machine takes over its work, pumping blood and oxygen to keep every cell alive. Imagine that. Your heart resting while a machine breathes life into you. Once the repair's complete, the heart is restarted, sometimes with a small electric pulse, and the chest is carefully closed. For the patient, it's several hours of deep anesthesia. For the family, it's hours of waiting, hoping, and praying. When Arnold woke up, he described feeling like he had been hit by a truck, but also grateful to be alive. And that feeling is shared by almost every patient. Because even when the surgery goes perfectly, the body has to recover from being opened, cooled, bypassed, and restarted. The Cleveland Clinic compares the first 48 hours after surgery to running a marathon at the cellular level. Your body is inflamed, your energy systems are disrupted, and every organ is working overtime to find balance again. That's why the first few days are spent in the intensive care unit. Nurses monitor blood pressure, oxygen, heart rhythm, and pain control around the clock. Tubes help drain fluids, machines track every heartbeat, and each breath is supported until the lungs regain strength. But here's the important part. Even in those first hours, recovery has already started. According to the American Heart Association, small movements, like sitting up or taking shallow breaths, are part of the therapy. They prevent pneumonia, blood clots, and muscle loss. It's the first sign that the patient is on the way back. And that's exactly what Arnold did. He said, "They had me walking the same day." For him, that wasn't just physical strength, it was mindset. Because open heart surgery doesn't just repair the heart, it challenges the spirit. And that's where the role of caregivers begins. They become the bridge between hospital and home, the people who make sure medication is given, who help the patient move safely, who remind them that pain means healing, not failure. But before they can help, they must understand what the patient's body has been through. The ribs were spread apart. The sternum, the breastbone, was divided and wired back together. Every cough, every movement puts pressure on that area. That's why tenderness, patience, and proper guidance are essential. So when you're helping someone recover, remember, you're not just watching over a wound, you're watching over the most resilient muscle in the human body, a heart that has stopped, been repaired, and started again. And in the next section, we'll see how Arnold's first steps, those early days at home, reveal the exact way to rebuild confidence and strength, one careful movement at a time. When Arnold Schwarzenegger opened his eyes after surgery, he didn't wake up to applause, cameras, or bright lights. He woke up to pain and the quiet rhythm of medical machines keeping him alive. He later said, "When I realized what happened, I was shocked. But then I told myself, you can't change it. You can only move forward." That's the moment most heart surgery patients face. The fear of fragility, realizing the same heart that once powered every breath, every step, has been cut open and stitched back together. But recovery begins right there. Not a week later, not when the pain fades. It starts the moment you decide to participate in your own healing. Arnold's doctors encouraged him to walk the very same day, and yes, it hurt. He described it as walking through a storm with weights on your chest. But that first step was everything. According to the Cleveland Clinic, light movement immediately after open heart surgery reduces the risk of blood clots, pneumonia, and muscle atrophy. That's why nurses and caregivers assist patients to sit up, dangle their legs off the bed, and take those first slow, careful steps. It's not about speed, it's about circulation. Every breath, every tiny motion tells the heart, you're still alive, you're still working. And Arnold embodied that. He called those early days a comeback challenge. The American Heart Association emphasizes the same principle. Within the first 24 to 48 hours, breathing exercises are vital. Using a simple device called an incentive spirometer, patients practice taking deep, slow breaths to expand their lungs. This prevents pneumonia, one of the most common complications after surgery, and strengthens the chest muscles that were weakened during operation. So if you're helping someone recover at home, encourage them to use that device every hour while awake. And when they cough, which they must to clear fluid, remind them to hug a pillow tightly against their chest. Arnold often joked about this technique. It was like hugging myself and reminding my body I was still strong. That small action, known as sternal protection, keeps the breastbone stable and prevents painful separation as it heals. The Mayo Clinic calls this one of the most important habits in early recovery. Another key step is maintaining a regular daily rhythm, consistent times for waking up, eating, walking, resting, and taking medication. Our bodies love structure, and the heart, after trauma, responds best to routine. Caregivers play a huge role here. You are the coach, the companion, and sometimes the anchor for someone who feels like they've lost control of their own body. Simple encouragement like, "Let's walk to the kitchen," or "Let's breathe together," can change their mindset completely. Because in those first days, recovery isn't just physical, it's psychological. The Johns Hopkins Heart Institute found that patients who feel supported recover 25% faster and have fewer complications than those who feel isolated. That means every kind word, every small act of patience literally changes the biology of healing. Arnold's story proves it. He shared that having friends visit, making him laugh, and cheering him on gave him the drive to keep going when everything hurt. He said, "I wasn't recovering alone. I had an army of people helping me get back." So, if you're caring for someone after open heart surgery, remember this: your presence is medicine, your patience is healing, and your encouragement is what helps their heart learn to trust itself again. Because the comeback doesn't start when the stitches come out. It starts when the patient stands up and says, "I'm ready to walk again." And in the next section, we'll go deeper into exactly how those movements evolve. The safe exercises, breathing patterns, and postures that rebuild strength day by day. Once Arnold was discharged from the hospital, the real challenge began. Living with a healing heart in the real world. He described it like this: "The surgery was the easy part. Recovery was where the battle truly began." And that's true for everyone who's been through open heart surgery. The hospital gives you structure, nurses, doctors, machines. But at home, you face the noise of normal life: stairs, cooking, stress, fatigue, fear. That's why the American Heart Association calls the first 4 weeks after surgery the make or break phase. What you do or don't do during this time determines how strong your heart will be for the rest of your life. Arnold followed one simple rule: move every day, but never rush your comeback. That became his mantra. Doctors from the Cleveland Clinic emphasized the same thing: daily movement, short walks, gentle stretches, and posture control help improve circulation, reduce swelling, and rebuild lung capacity. So, if you're helping someone recover, start small, but stay consistent. Walk together 2 or 3 times per day, even if it's just 5 minutes around the living room. And after every walk, encourage 3 deep breathing rounds using the incentive spirometer. Think of it as teaching the lungs and heart to cooperate again. The Mayo Clinic adds that proper posture plays a crucial role in preventing pain. When sitting, the patient's shoulders should be slightly back, chest open, and feet flat on the floor. This posture allows better oxygen flow and prevents stiffness. Many caregivers overlook this, but slouching can put pressure on the healing sternum and slow down the recovery process. Arnold often shared that he practiced power posture even while sitting, saying it made him feel more alive and confident. "When I sat tall, I felt like my body remembered who I was." These psychological cues are powerful because recovery is not only about tissue, it's about rebuilding identity. The American College of Cardiology recommends combining small physical goals with emotional reinforcement. Things like keeping a journal of daily walks, noting improvements in breathing, or tracking mood changes. These tiny victories matter. Every patient who feels progress, even if it's slow, is far less likely to relapse into depression or inactivity. Another key habit during home recovery is sternal protection, the art of moving without straining the chest incision. The Johns Hopkins Heart Institute teaches a simple rule called move in a block. That means when getting out of bed, the patient should roll to the side and push up using the elbow, not the arms or chest. When coughing or sneezing, always hug a pillow tightly to the chest. Arnold humorously called it my armor. It hurt less, and it reminded me I was still strong, even healing. And that's the mindset that makes all the difference. You are not fragile, you are rebuilding. Many hospitals like Stanford Healthcare also encourage light leg exercises while seated, slow ankle circles, toe lifts, or squeezing the thighs for 5 seconds at a time. These small movements boost circulation, reducing the risk of blood clots and keeping the lower body strong. Caregivers can make it engaging, play calm music, count reps together, or even set small goals for each session. Arnold shared that gamifying his recovery helped him stay consistent. He treated every walk like a training montage, each step another rep toward freedom. And that mindset works. According to the Harvard Heart Letter, patients who reframe recovery as training for life show higher motivation and fewer setbacks. But what about energy and nutrition? That's the next piece of the puzzle. Because even the strongest mind and the most disciplined movement routine can't rebuild the body without the right fuel. So in the next section, we'll explore exactly what to eat, the ideal foods, nutrients, and recovery meals that give the healing heart the strength it deserves. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said, "Recovery isn't only about moving your body, it's about feeding your heart." And he meant it literally. After his open heart surgery, his doctors placed him on a carefully designed meal plan, one that didn't just lower cholesterol, but accelerated tissue repair and strengthened his heart muscle. The American Heart Association confirms that the first 6 weeks after surgery are when nutrition has the biggest impact on healing. The heart is rebuilding, the muscles are regaining energy, and the immune system is fighting inflammation. What you eat during this stage can either heal you or hold you back. Arnold's breakfast was simple but powerful: oatmeal with berries, chia seeds, and a sprinkle of walnuts. Why? Because oats are packed with beta-glucan, a soluble fiber proven by Mayo Clinic research to lower LDL, the bad cholesterol, while supporting gut health, which in turn affects inflammation and recovery speed. The berries added antioxidants, those vibrant compounds that neutralize free radicals, reducing oxidative stress on heart tissue. And the walnuts? They delivered omega-3 fatty acids, essential for stabilizing heart rhythm and preventing arterial stiffness. The Harvard School of Public Health calls this the perfect recovery trio: fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats. But nutrition after open heart surgery isn't about going on a diet. It's about rebuilding the body with food that heals. Arnold's doctors encouraged whole, natural ingredients, colorful vegetables, lean proteins like salmon or lentils, and small portions of complex carbs. The goal, as his dietitian said, was to fuel recovery, not restriction. That philosophy aligns perfectly with the Mediterranean-style diet, which the American Heart Association and Johns Hopkins Medicine consistently rank as the best long-term diet for cardiac patients. This approach focuses on whole grains, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and fresh produce, foods that fight inflammation while keeping the heart strong. But perhaps the most underrated nutrient in recovery is protein. The Cleveland Clinic explains that after heart surgery, protein needs increase by up to 30%, because your body is literally repairing a muscle, your heart. Arnold included plant-based proteins like lentils, beans, and tofu, along with occasional eggs and fish. These foods not only aid muscle repair, but also help prevent sarcopenia, the natural loss of muscle mass that often slows recovery. And hydration. It may seem simple, but it's critical. Dehydration thickens the blood, increases heart strain, and delays wound healing. That's why Arnold made sure to drink plenty of water and herbal teas, avoiding sugary drinks and excessive caffeine. His favorite? Green tea, rich in catechins, which Harvard Health reports can improve blood vessel function and reduce cholesterol levels naturally. These might sound like small choices, but day after day, they build momentum. Remember this: every meal is a message to your body, a message that says heal, repair, and grow stronger. So if you're helping someone recover at home, focus on these simple principles. Cook with color. The more vibrant the plate, the richer in nutrients. Avoid ultra-processed foods. Your heart can't rebuild from chemicals. Eat slowly, let digestion support the recovery process, and always combine good food with gratitude. Arnold once said, "Every bite was fuel for my comeback." And that's the mindset that transforms nutrition from a chore into a daily act of healing. In the next section, we'll dive into the emotional and mental recovery, how mindset, sleep, and stress management can literally speed up the body's ability to heal itself. Because no matter how strong the body is, The mind is what drives the true recovery. When people think of heart surgery, they imagine the scars, the medication, the physical therapy, but very few talk about the silent battle, the mental one. Arnold Schwarzenegger has spoken about this phase openly. He said, "I thought I was ready for the pain, but I wasn't ready for the fear. Fear of another surgery, fear of losing strength, fear of not being himself again. And this fear isn't weakness, it's human." According to Harvard Medical School, almost 40% of patients experience anxiety or mild depression in the weeks following open heart surgery. The reason? The body heals fast, but the mind lags behind. You feel your heart beat differently, you breathe differently, you're aware of every pulse, every sound, every scar. Arnold said it best, "It's like your body whispers, 'Don't push too hard,' and your mind believes it." But the comeback starts when you challenge that voice. The Cleveland Clinic calls it psychological rehabilitation, retraining your brain to trust your body again. One key to doing this is routine. Routine reduces uncertainty, and uncertainty is the fuel of anxiety. That's why Arnold kept a daily log of his walks, his meals, and his breathing sessions. He treated each entry as a victory, proof that progress was real, even if it was slow. The Johns Hopkins Heart Institute found that patients who track their recovery progress daily have up to 30% lower stress hormone levels. Why? Because tracking creates control, and control is the antidote to fear. Another crucial element is connection. Arnold surrounded himself with people, friends, nurses, even fans, who reminded him of his purpose. He often said, "Every visit gave me new energy. Every smile was another rep for my soul." The science backs this up. Studies from Harvard Health Publishing show that social connection accelerates wound healing and strengthens immune function. Simply having someone to talk to, someone who listens without judgment, can lower blood pressure and heart rate variability. So if you're caring for someone recovering at home, remember this: your words, your time, your presence are as powerful as any medication. But there's another layer to recovery, one that Arnold took seriously: mindset training. He visualized his healing like he visualized his workouts, seeing his heart grow stronger with every breath. This isn't just mental trickery, it's neuroplasticity in action. Research from Stanford University shows that visualization can activate the same neural pathways used in real physical activity. In other words, when you imagine recovery vividly, your body starts responding as if it's already happening. Arnold did this daily. He'd close his eyes and see himself walking, laughing, training again. "I had to see it before I could live it," he said. This mental rehearsal gave him confidence, and confidence is the bridge between fear and freedom. Because the truth is, no one heals perfectly. There are setbacks. There are moments of frustration and pain, but mindset turns those moments into milestones. Every step forward, no matter how small, teaches the mind that progress is possible. The American Heart Association even recommends meditation and mindfulness as part of cardiac rehabilitation programs. Just 5 minutes of focused breathing daily can lower cortisol, stabilize heart rhythm, and improve recovery outcomes. Arnold turned this into a personal rule: 5 minutes for the body, 5 minutes for the mind, every morning. That's what real healing looks like. Not perfection, but persistence. So if you or someone you love is recovering from heart surgery, remind them: healing isn't just about repairing the heart, it's about reprogramming the mind to believe again. Because when your thoughts align with your body, every cell begins to heal with purpose. And in the next section, we'll explore how sleep, the most underestimated therapy, can supercharge this process and rebuild strength faster than you'd imagine. Once Arnold was discharged from the hospital, the real challenge began: living with a healing heart in the real world. He described it like this: the surgery was the easy part. Recovery was where the battle truly began. And that's true for everyone who's been through open heart surgery. The hospital gives you structure: nurses, doctors, machines. But at home, You face the noise of normal life: stairs, cooking, stress, fatigue, fear. That's why the American Heart Association calls the first 4 weeks after surgery the make or break phase. What you do or don't do during this time determines how strong your heart will be for the rest of your life. Arnold followed one simple rule: move every day, but never rush your comeback. That became his mantra. Doctors from the Cleveland Clinic emphasized the same thing: daily movement, short walks, gentle stretches, and posture control help improve circulation, reduce swelling, and rebuild lung capacity. So if you're helping someone recover, start small, but stay consistent. Walk together 2 or 3 times per day, even if it's just 5 minutes around the living room. And after every walk, encourage 3 deep breathing rounds using the incentive spirometer. Think of it as teaching the lungs and heart to cooperate again. The Mayo Clinic adds that proper posture plays a crucial role in preventing pain. When sitting, the patient's shoulders should be slightly back, chest open, and feet flat on the floor. This posture allows better oxygen flow and prevents stiffness. Many caregivers overlook this, but slouching can put pressure on the healing sternum and slow down the recovery process. Arnold often shared that he practiced power posture even while sitting, saying it made him feel more alive and confident. When I sat tall, I felt like my body remembered who I was. These psychological cues are powerful because recovery is not only about tissue, it's about rebuilding identity. The American College of Cardiology recommends combining small physical goals with emotional reinforcement, things like keeping a journal of daily walks, noting improvements in breathing, or tracking mood changes. These tiny victories matter. Every patient who feels progress, even if it's slow, is far less likely to relapse into depression or inactivity. Another key habit during home recovery is sternal protection, the art of moving without straining the chest incision. The Johns Hopkins Heart Institute teaches a simple rule called move in a block. That means when getting out of bed, the patient should roll to the side and push up using the elbow, not the arms or chest. When coughing or sneezing, always hug a pillow tightly to the chest. Arnold humorously called it my armor. It hurt less, and it reminded me I was still strong, even healing. And that's the mindset that makes all the difference. You are not fragile, you are rebuilding. Many hospitals like Stanford Healthcare also encourage light leg exercises while seated, slow ankle circles, toe lifts, or squeezing the thighs for 5 seconds at a time. These small movements boost circulation, reducing the risk of blood clots and keeping the lower body strong. Caregivers can make it engaging. Play calm music, count reps together, or even set small goals for each session. Arnold shared that gamifying his recovery helped him stay consistent. He treated every walk like a training montage, each step another rep toward freedom, and that mindset works. According to the Harvard Heart Letter, patients who reframe recovery as training for life show higher motivation and fewer setbacks. But what about energy and nutrition? That's the next piece of the puzzle. Because even the strongest mind and the most disciplined movement routine can't rebuild the body without the right fuel. So in the next section, we'll explore exactly what to eat, the ideal foods, nutrients, and recovery meals that give the healing heart the strength it deserves. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said, "Strength doesn't come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is strength." And that's what this journey is truly about. The comeback after open heart surgery isn't just medical, it's monumental. It's a fight not just for life, but for meaning. In every heartbeat, there's a reminder. You survived something that could have ended everything. But surviving isn't the end. Rebuilding, that's the real victory. The Cleveland Clinic defines full recovery not by how fast someone returns to normal, but by how deeply they transform their habits afterward. Movement, nutrition, mindset, rest, 4 pillars. 1 mission, to rebuild stronger than before. Think about it. Every step you take, every healthy meal you eat, every deep breath, and every night of good sleep is an act of defiance against weakness. The American Heart Association found that patients who embrace lifestyle change after heart surgery live, on average, 7 years longer than those who don't. 7 years. That's more birthdays, more sunrises, more time with family. Arnold knew this. That's why he approached his comeback like a new training phase, not for a movie, but for life. "I wasn't training for muscles anymore," he said. "I was training for my future." That's the essence of the comeback formula. First, move, even when it hurts, because motion reminds your heart it's still alive. Second, eat with purpose. Food isn't comfort, it's construction. Every bite is a building block for the new you. Third, protect your mindset. The body follows what the mind believes. If you see yourself healing, your body will start believing it. And finally, rest. Not out of laziness, but out of respect for what your body has endured. Because sleep is where recovery becomes real. The Mayo Clinic calls this combination the golden cycle of recovery, a self-reinforcing loop of movement, nutrition, rest, and resilience. And Arnold embodied it. He turned his recovery into a routine, his fear into focus, and his weakness into wisdom. He often said, "Every setback is a setup for a stronger comeback." That message resonates far beyond heart surgery, because the truth is, we all have something to heal, a body, a relationship, a part of ourselves we've neglected. And recovery, in any form, demands the same courage, patience, persistence, and belief. The Johns Hopkins Heart Institute calls it emotional cardiac resilience, the ability of the human spirit to rebuild even when the body is weak. So if you or someone you love is going through recovery, remember this: you are not starting from zero, you are starting from experience. Every scar is a story. Every breath is a victory. Every step forward is proof that your heart, literally and metaphorically, still works. And if you take nothing else from this video, let it be this: healing is not about going back to who you were. It's about becoming someone new, someone wiser, someone stronger, someone more alive. Arnold's story reminds us that you don't need to be a celebrity to have a powerful comeback. You just need courage. So take a deep breath, look at where you are now, and whisper to yourself, "This is not the end. This is my new beginning." And if this message inspired you, make sure to share it with someone who needs to hear it today, because healing multiplies when it's shared.